We're here today, y'all, to really talk about and raise resources for the Ella Summit. I really wanted to talk about why the Ella Summit, why now, and what is the legacy that we're building on. We're really building on the work that Manuela and Lucia spoke about, that those seeds of warriors for embodied liberation that have now blossomed into the Ella Summit. And, we're gathering in this moment. We're gathering April 17th through the 19th in Philadelphia to do a number of things. We're gathering to ground, to release grief, as Gina spoke about, to reimagine what our future, our collective liberated future can look like. And we're gathering to build sustainability and resilience. We know, based on everything that Rucia and Manuela spoke about, that women of color, gender expansive leaders are carrying our movements. They are, as Rucia said, creating the material change for communities. They are at the front lines fighting the fight, and they deserve to rest. They deserve spaces to reinvigorate. They deserve spaces to build their sustainability. They deserve spaces that don't just count on their resilience, but help build their resilience. And we look at this Ella Summit as endurance training. We think about the fact that for movement work to be sustained in the long haul, we can't just rely on or ignore the humanity of the individuals that take up the mantle and do the work, that we have to center their humanity. And the space of the Ella Summit is an opportunity for leaders to drop in, to reconnect to themselves, to other leaders, and to really think about that endurance training, that ability to be sustained and supported in the work that they do. Uh, I think about Warriors for Embodied Liberation that and many folks you'll hear from today have had the honor of being a part of. And I think about how that work was also shaped by the consulting work that Rucia has done over many, many years. One example of this, many of you know, if you don't know, find out, know about United We Dream, an essential movement organization, an essential immigrant rights organization. And if we were to look at the trajectory and the work of United We Dream, we would find that from 2008 through 2016, Rucia was a primary support to that organization. She did everything from staff trainings to coaching to leadership development to board retreats, staff retreats. And, when I think about what an essential movement organization like United We Dream needed to prepare for what we saw in 2016 and then 2018, I have to be grateful, of course, for those leaders and for the brilliance and the work that they were doing, but also that they had Rucia in support of them to think about how to infuse somatics and somatic practice into the work, the campaign work, and the organizational development work that they did. And so, when we think about endurance training, this isn't just anecdotally something that we imagine or that, we are thinking about in an aspirational sense, but we're really understanding that through the generations of work that Rucia and this organization has been doing, that we have effective practice, that we have roadmaps to be able to think about what this endurance training looks like, to think about what collective care and healing requires, to think about what happens and what is possible when we bring together women of color leaders and gender expansive leaders in a space like the one we will create in April. And I think I'll just leave you with this quote at the very bottom from one of our last summit participants. We gathered in 2024 as a post-election refuge. We had over 109, I believe, folks at the summit, 98% women of color, which is already just pretty phenomenal and unheard of. But this individual said to us in their feedback, this was not just a conference. It was an experience of what liberation is like in practice. And that's really what we see this Ella Summit being. It is an opportunity for us to center our humanity and to really practice liberation, to practice radical love, to practice and co-create the world that we want to see. I have the pleasure of also teeing up two short videos from two of our other keynote speakers. As Gina said, she'll be joining us to be in ceremony and ritual around grief. Um, and you already heard directly from Gina about all of the brilliance and the wisdom that she'll carry into our space. I also want to and I'll introduce both and then play their videos. So Karen Washington is another one of our keynote speakers and VIPs, very special guests. She'll be talking with us about radical imagination. And Karen, as many of you know, is a community activist, urban gardener, a visionary community builder, a founder of Bugs, the Black Urban Growers Summit, and co-owner of Rise and Root Farm. So in just a second, I'll tee up a short video from our sister, as she affectionately says, Mama K. And then you'll also hear from Staci Haynes, who, if you've been in and around somatics for any amount of time, the roads lead back to Staci. Staci is a leader in the field of somatics. And has been for over 30 years now with Soma Social Justice. She's a senior teacher and core contributor to the Strozzi Institute.
Hi, everybody. This is Karen Washington, aka Mama K. I'm excited to be a speaker at the Ella Conference this year in April. Folks ask me, it's like, Karen, look, why are you excited to be speaking? Because the time is now. The time is now for us as women of color to speak up, to speak out, to be noticed. For so long, we've been in the background. Our voices have been silent, but no more. No more. This is a time of celebration of our leadership, of our power. I am so excited to throw down the gauntlet and to make sure that people understand, especially women, how powerful we are. Collectively, we can make change. Collectively, we can move mountains. Collectively, we can shift this narrative of not being seen. And so if you're out there, come join me. Come join us as we take on this mantle of leadership, of power, of change. Because the way this country is going to be dealt with is women. We are the ones that are going to make change. We are the ones that are going to exhibit our power. So join me and so many others like me as we come and to rejoice who we are as women, to celebrate who we are in April. I am ready to light that fire and throw down that gauntlet to make sure that people understand who we are. Hopefully you'll join me. Support the work that we're doing to make sure that we are seen, that we are heard, that we are rejoiced. So thank you so much. Again, this is AKA Mama K, ready to getting on. Thank you. Bye now.
Hi all, Staci Haynes here. I'm really sorry that I am not able to join you all. I am on the road and can't be there. I wanted to add my voice around and my support around the Ella Summit. I participated last year and I'm very committed to participate again this year. I have never seen a space that is primarily women of color, organizers, organizational leaders, really committed to uplifting each other and committed to their own development work, both leadership development, coalition and campaign development, right? Political work, and then really deep inner work, which is what's being led there as well. So I think it's a very important place. It's an essential place at this particular moment, given everything that we're contending with together. And yeah, I hope you support it. I'm supporting it. I'm committed. I hope you support it. Thanks so much.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good folk. Coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia this morning.
Gina, thank you for being here. Perhaps you could talk a little bit about why you're joining us at the Ella Summit and why you believe this space and all of the gifts and the brilliance you bring is important for movement leaders in this moment. Just a small question, Gina.
Well, thank you. That's very gracious of you for saying so. And I will share that for the last couple of years, I've been anchoring in this work of grief doula, being a grief doula, mostly to folk who hold folk, the holders of holders, and the holders of holders of holders. That's been my work. And what that looks like is holding folk that hold organizations or are doing work on the front lines of myriad social justice movements. I mean, in my tradition and for my work, it's all really one thing, right? But I do work with folk who are doing immigrant justice and um, that are leading fights for trans justice and for bodily autonomy, of course, reproductive justice. And I work with folk who are leaders in philanthropy. And that work looks like helping folk, and please, of course, for time, this is a broad brush, but helping folk to locate where grief gets lodged in the body. These folk tend to make sure that the people that they're holding have opportunities to move grief, to be with their grief, to source grief as the power that I know it be. Um, but not for themselves, right? And so often when I get to or get called in to hold space with folk, it's because they are at the edge of their capacity or frankly have fallen off what they think of as the edge of their capacity. When folk feel like they can't go another step, like I've held space with folk who have said, I thought I was about to die. And grief can feel that way. The weight of grief, it ossifies around the heart and in the liver and in the lungs. And of course, I'm speaking through a spiritual lens and through the invisible. But the feeling and the weight in the body is the same, like as what I am speaking. Like I cannot go another day. And so I do this work through ritual. Some people use the language of practices. I ask folk to use the language from their tradition that feels good to them. Um, and that looks like peer work. We do something I call kitchen table grief circles, where we pair up folk in groups of 4, if there are enough people, in groups of 2, it's fine, to talk about your origin story, what shapes your relationship to grief and grieving, and how that impacts your present day. So the overarching mission is to normalize grief and grieving. And then we use it all the time to create things. Why not do it on purpose? Go turn toward it, look for it, source it. It is a power as well. And I think that might be a longer conversation, maybe. And look at this. It's not even 5 minutes. Look at that elevator speech.